Our next speaker is Devin McCarthy. Many of you know Devin. He's been a long-time Simply Cyber community member, always commenting in the daily cyber threat briefings. He's going to be talking about what happens if I click that link. Really massive value. Let's bring Devin in. Hey, Devin, how are you?
Hey, good. Thanks for being here. Wow, great talk so far. Very excited to be part of this. Yeah,
Yeah, it's epic. Love the shirt too, Devin.
thank you.
Thanks for repping.
Of
Appreciate it.
course.
All right, so Devin, go ahead and share your slides. It was there, and now it's gone. So
No
I'll pull
worries.
that up, and then we're going to get going, and we're going to keep rocking. Just a reminder, everybody, that the Discord server has a special section. I see it now. Has a
Cool.
special section for the Simply CyberCon. You will have to use a redemption code. It doesn't cost anything, but it's to prevent bots and trolls from ruining our conference. So get that redemption code, put it in the redeem channel in the Simply CyberCon, agree to the rules, unlock all the goodness. There are major conversations, networking, and opportunity over there, as well as the open chat with the speakers after their speaking engagement. All right, Devin McCarthy, what happens if I click that link? Take it away.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let me just set my timer here to make sure I don't go too long. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Devin McCarthy. I live about 2 hours east of Seattle, Washington. So, shout out to Team Replay. I have over 10 years of experience with technical experience, mostly working as a high level IT support person. But about 2 years ago, I transitioned into security after finding Simply Cyber's website, the GRC Masterclass, which I took as soon as it popped out. So, very special thanks to Jerry and all the volunteers who put the conference together. And then also just the Simply Cyber community. You've all been very helpful in my journey. So currently, I work as a security analyst for a nonprofit tech company called Tester Network. Being a nonprofit, it's a small team, so we all wear a lot of hats. So I do security awareness training, log analysis, compliance, threat hunting, and email security. So the inspiration for this talk was an obvious phishing email campaign that was coming through and mostly getting blocked by our filters, but they just kept coming. Looked like they were kind of the same people behind it, and I couldn't quite figure out like what were they really trying to do. And so I thought, what happens if I actually click that link? So, split this talk up into a few sections. First, we're going to talk about some useful elements for investigating phishing emails. Next, I was going to share some useful tools that I find for investigating emails, and then we're going to walk through a few investigations that I actually do that I've recorded for clicking that link, and then hopefully, if I'm not too long-winded, we'll have a little time for Q&A, or I'll pop over to that Discord chat. So, first off, when a suspicious email comes in, we look a lot towards the subject lines. So the subject lines for these are actual phishing emails that we received. These particular ones, they look like they're trying to pretend to be part of our company, and they all look like mostly they're trying to say, "Hey, go and do this." They're trying to kind of start the thread of this is important. So you can see here, there's something a little wrong with a lot of these, as we've seen in other phishing emails. So like the name isn't quite broken up, or it doesn't. There's kind of odd spacing. So it's interesting that it's not quite perfect, but it does kind of look like it fits into somebody kind of writing fast and trying to get your input. Next, we look at email signatures, or the email address, excuse me. So we have the from signature here on the left, which is saying e-sign, but actually it's coming from an email address in Japan. Here it's trying to say it's IT support, but actually if you look underneath, it's coming from Spark Ideas. And here it's trying to say it's human resources, but it's actually voicesforhillary.com. And most of these that we find are compromised email addresses. So they're mostly business email compromise or just regular compromise, where folks have taken over these emails and are sending them kind of fraudulently over to us. The next thing we see is like a call to action, so this, or a time limit. So it's trying to get you to act kind of very quickly. So, hey, swiftly take a picture of your QR code that you see in this email, which we see these coming through a lot these days. Hey, your storage is full. You better click this link, or you're going to lose, your access to get incoming messages. So those are generally what we look at first, just when an email comes in. And then the next kind of layer deeper, we look into the email headers. So email headers, if you don't know, this is kind of the code snippet behind every email that comes through. This is how it interfaces, kind of like a website has code behind it to say like get image goes here, this link goes here. This is the piece of that for emails. And so this piece here is broken up into the headers are broken up into different sections, but the ones that we find the most useful are checking the IP address, where it was sent to, where it was sent from, and that gives you some kind of insight into whether it's a suspicious email there. The next piece is actually the authentication section. So each email header has an authentication section where it tries to communicate like where it's authorized to do its email delivery. So the first piece is SPF, and so SPF is the way that from the sender side of things, the email tells you what IP addresses are allowed to send this email. And so you'll see in some of the investigation that we do, you'll see that the email has failed that because it's being sent from an IP address that's not on the allowed list for their email server. The next piece is DKIM, and DKIM is basically, you can think of it like the HTTPS of the website, that certificate saying that it's authenticated. It's a very similar thing for email. There's a public and a private key, and so you basically can match those up and see if it's a verified email that's being sent. You'll see these fail, or you'll see it relaxed, or if they are actually coming from a compromised email domain, then actually it's not as helpful. And the next is DMARC. That's actually from the receiver side of things. So it's like a protocol that you put in place on your server so that any emails that come through, you say like how strict or not strict you should be. So, hey, this IP address to the SPF is not matching, deny that email coming through. It's not on our domain, deny that email coming through. So it's on the actual receiver side. But those kind of facilitate the authentication piece of the headers, and it's very, very useful to know that as you're kind of digging into these sort of phishing emails. And just one little thing to follow back on, you can actually see these headers in every email, but every kind of system has a different way to look at them. I think Google, it's pretty easy. You just kind of right click and you can get to the back of it, similar to like seeing source on a website. So next, I want to move over to useful tools that I find. So the first is actually KnowBe4's tool. This is what we use for our phishing investigations generally. They have a program called Fisher or Fishiar. I always call it Fishiar. And basically, it splits the email up into different elements, so they're very easy to parse out and view. And we'll see that in the investigation that I do. Next is Microsoft 365 Security. We are a Microsoft shop, and so all of our Outlook and everything is coming through Microsoft 365. And this tool does some of the same things as KnowBe4, but you can get really deep into the nitty gritty of like where it's coming from, what's the flow of an email that comes through. So it's also very useful. This is my favorite tool. It's called the Windows Sandbox. If you haven't heard of it, it is a application that you can download from Microsoft. It's actually put up by them. It's free for the Microsoft Store, and it's a virtualized Microsoft desktop. You basically click it. It opens up this desktop that you can interact with, and this is what I do most of my investigations on, as to not to hurt my hurt my computer. And that as soon as you hit the X button to close it, everything is destroyed. So it's a nice, quick way to do some investigations. And then here's a list of some websites. I'll make these available when the YouTube, when this comes out on YouTube. I'll actually include these in the description or in the comments. But I want to kind of just quickly go through ones that I found to be useful in my investigations. So the first is, what is my IP address? I'm sure most people know this, but it's a nice way to find out where in the world an IP address is pinging from. IP Void has a lot of cool tools in it. I usually use it for the whois, so trying to see like where the domain is coming from, but you can use this for lots of different stuff. This is a decoder for URL obscuring. So a URL string can be encoded to kind of obscure where it's going to. And so using a decoder tool, there's a million of them out there. This one I like just because it's easy and free, but you can go in and actually see more clearly where the email is trying to send you to. And then finally, scanqr.org. This is a great way to actually scan from an image. So instead of having to take a picture with your phone and potentially go to some nefarious site, you can actually do it from an image. And see where that QR code is actually being sent to. So it's a very, very useful tool. Something that's not super useful, in my experience, is actually VirusTotal, because the emails that we're seeing come through are for like newly compromised email addresses, or they're obscuring like where they're going to, through like link jacking and jumping from a good URL to their bad URL. It doesn't get flagged very often on VirusTotal, so not surprisingly not super useful. So I think I'm ready to jump into the investigation here. So I have some videos of some investigations. I'll kind of walk you through and pause as I need. So starting off, this is, we are looking at PhishER. You can see here it kind of parses out the email, and this is coming from, supposed to say automatic response, coming from an email address that is not from our domain. You can see it's actually marked as external because that is part of our 365 security. And it kind of looks important. Here I'm going through the headers quickly. So I parsed out the headers. I want to see here what has passed. So you can see it's passing here, but there's actually a failed URL string that it's coming through. And just to step back a tiny bit, you saw on the preview that they actually were trying to get you to unlock your passwords. You're supposed to say that your password, you want to keep your password rather. They're trying to say it's expiring. No attachments, but the domain, which again, this is PhishER, so it kind of splits up every link in the email, which is really nice. You're going to see here that this is marked as safe links. This is something that you can turn on through Microsoft 365. It basically parses out all the emails through Microsoft to see if they're an issue or not. I've now bounced over, sorry, I'm kind of talking a little too slow. So I'm bouncing here over to the Windows Sandbox, and this is that decoder that I was mentioning. I've blacked out my my colleague's email because I didn't want to dox them, but I'm going to go in and actually change this email address so that it is just a random nothing email address, which you can do in these URL strings because a lot of them are just like literally sticking the email address into the URL string. So I'm going to copy that, throw it into a browser in Windows Sandbox, and you'll see here that it's going to go here. So this is actually what you want. This is perfect. So Microsoft has already flagged this link. This is going to a malicious site, and it's not allowing whoever is clicking it to go further. So now I go a little bit deeper, trying to kind of push through that to see where it really is trying to go. Again, looks like Google actually marked this as, or excuse me, Microsoft Defender marked this as malicious, and you can't even get there right now. So I'm going to try one more time to see if I can get a little bit more directly into the email. That's what I'm really curious what happens when I get into there. And it's actually taken down. So the site doesn't exist. I kind of noodle a little on this. I'll actually pause this and go to the next one, but I kind of noodle on this trying to go a little deeper. It has totally been blocked off. So that's exactly what you want. You want these emails to not be able to be clicked. But let's go and look at investigation where I was actually able to get further. So here we go. Let me play this. So you can see here, it's trying to go to, it's saying that's coming from HR payroll. It's actually coming from a Hungarian site, looks like, probably business email compromise. You can see here, I'm actually looking at the preview, and a little further down, you'll see that it's trying to be a QR code. And these particular emails are very hard to stop, and mostly because they are just images. So they basically take all the text and everything and they put it into 2 images, and that's what they're sending. So there's not a lot of things to actually to react on from the mail server side of things. And here, looking at the header piece that's split up, and in the authentication, everything's passed. The DKIM passed, it passed through SPF. So it does seem like this has been totally compromised email domain. So I'm gonna go through and grab these. What's nice about also PhishER, I feel like I'm plugging PhishER, but we do use it a lot. You can actually click any of the images that are within, and it'll save it. It's actually not hosted there. It's hosted on their servers, and then you can bring those through and download them. So it's kind of nice. It's a little bit safer. So I'm going to go there, pull their link, and there's the first image. And Here is the second image. Cool. So you'll see here, I'm just going to load these up, and you'll see that the first one is literally the image of the email. So it looks like an email, but there's no text there. It's all just hidden in that image. I'm going to click the other one, and here is the QR code. So now, since I have that isolated, I can go into the scanqrcode.org, and a little further down here, there is a place to add an image. Grab that one, and there I can see exactly where it's going. As you look there, if you're looking at the URL, you'll see it's .ur, or .ru, excuse me. So it's a Russian based domain. And this is very similar to what we've been seeing. There's been a big campaign, QR codes coming through from Russian domains. And so it's been very interesting. I'm just pulling the domain here. I'm going to IP Void to do a who is lookup on it to see if there's a little bit more information here. And if I want to go a little down, we don't have a whole lot of information, but you see there that the servers are Cloudflare, and this has been a bit of a problem with our email, with suspicious emails lately, where they hide them behind Cloudflare. And as you see here, here's Cloudflare. Here it's trying to do a reCAPTCHA, mostly to block any sort of automated detection. So literally, it's trying to get you to click through. And so here is where it's trying to get me to. And it's a little bit boring, but every single phishing email, no matter what, is always trying to get here, always trying to get here with a fake Microsoft login. So it's interesting. It's like full front, everything goes towards this. As you can see, the URL string is very, very obviously not Windows or Microsoft, excuse me. But if you were to do this on your phone and take a picture, that you usually don't have the full URL string when you're actually getting through a browser in your phone. So it's pretty tricky. I have done a deep dive into this just to go deeper in, and I do see what they're doing with the API is actually doing a forgot password call. So they're trying to, you put in your info, it tries to make a call on forgot password to change that. Okay, I just have one little one left here. This one's just a silly one. This is a CVS survey phishing email that I got personally. The emails are very similar to like the Yeti cooler ones, or I think there's one with Ace Hardware. They're all trying to get you to go in and get something. You're going to get all this money for completing the survey. So I'm grabbing it. I'm going back into the Windows Sandbox here. I just wanted to like pull the URL string. It looks like they're doing something through Google API, which is interesting that they've bought something there on Google API. And you'll see as I click on this, it's going to go here, another link, and then it's going to link to a third site. So this is, I actually have done a deep dive, and I'm just going to talk as this kind of looks through these fake reviews. They're always the same. I'm going to run very quickly, given a bunch of junk answers. But what I found is this bounces through lots of different sites, and I've done an IP lookup on a couple domains, and it was literally, I think they had like 20 domains that were all like registered like right then, which is very interesting. So it seems like they're doing something in mass. They're trying to get as many people to do this as possible. And I think the next piece here, I'm going to look really quick at the domain just to see where that goes. So I'm just going through and grabbing the domain, and we'll head back over there so you can see how exciting it is that I got something free. So the domain again is this one actually was created the day that I put it out. So there's obviously they're churning through these things very quick. It's also Cloudflare does obviously really good things, but this is also like a suspicious site that is kind of using Cloudflare to block things. That timer going is not real. I've many a time gone through that timer just to see if it would actually go. And here are all the wonderful things that I can get. I like the smartwatch, so I click that. It goes to one link and then over to this other one, just link jacking all the way. And here, that's the only thing you can do is just get this free watch, excuse me. And once you're here, it tries to get you to pay for your shipping. So the shipping is 582. I think they give you a discount if you, oh yeah, there's a discount if you use MasterCard. And I don't really know exactly. This is the part where I'm not sure where they're going. Obviously, they get your email or get your address here. They already have your email. They get your full address. They get a credit card, and I wonder if are they actually stealing the card to use for something? Are they going to send you just like like the cheapest yucky plastic thing to to like show that it actually worked and then kind of keep you on the hook? It's very interesting. I'd be curious to see what the next step is. But as you go through this, it's not you're not going to see it here, but it'll start bouncing actually to other sites in order to get you to do more surveys, to put in more information, to do more stuff with your credit card. So yeah, interesting. Anyway, that's what happens when you get through that. And that is actually my last slide. So yeah, so I hope that was helpful, seeing some of those, seeing what happens when you actually click the link and go through and try to get to the end of a phishing email. My LinkedIn information's here, so please feel free to connect with me. That's my Discord handle as well, and I'd love to continue the conversation. Any questions that have come up during this conversation? I think we have a bit left. I
Yeah,
purposely.
we have a couple minutes. Thanks
Yeah.
so much, Devin. For a
Mhm.
second, I thought you were, and if you guys have any questions, drop them in chat right now, and I'm happy to field them to Devin. Love the tooling that you used. Love the workflows you showed. We've all received that stupid Yeti or Dick's Sporting Goods email.
Yeah.
So, it definitely resonates as far as, what happens if you go down the rabbit hole, if you will. Interesting. I could see the threat actors goal, obviously stealing your credit card, but
Mhm.
also making $5, which seems like a lot of work just to get five
Yeah.
bucks for the shipping and handling. Also, maybe bringing you into a bigger ruse. I'm almost thinking maybe like a pig butchering type scheme where they
Mhm.
send you the watch for $5, but then they're going to give you a Tesla, and that's
Yeah.
$3,000 shipping and handling or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I see
Um,
where you're going.
yeah, possibly. Um, does okay? So a couple questions.
Sure.
Looks like well, David's saying, does reporting on Outlook do anything? Do you actually have your end users have the ability to submit email as phishing? And what's your
Totally.
experience with that? Yeah.
Yeah, and I that was the bit I forgot that I had done in my previous practice of this. So yes, we have Fishiar specifically allows you to, or Fisher. I'm sure I'm butchering it, and James will probably gonna be like, "You did it wrong." But there is a module that you can add on to your Outlook, and so again, I know it from the Outlook side, but I believe it's other email domains as well. But it actually adds a link that you click, and it just sends it automatically over if you think it's suspicious, which
Mhm.
means we get suspicious, but a lot of spam as well, because I've trained them well to be very suspicious.
Oh,
Um,
good. Nice
and
work.
then we also have things that we put into place. So there is, we can block very easily in that Fishiar. You can just go and say, this domain is blocked. This hash value for an image, which is not super duper helpful, but is blocked. And so it'll just automatically catch those as they come through. Yeah, and they report them directly to me too, but mostly it's through that phishing module.
I love it. Now, Steph Cluis in chat wants to know, you showed a bunch of resources there. Did you happen to, we're going to make these slides available after the conference. So if someone got your slides, would that be enough to know all the resources you used, or have you
I think
documented
so.
them?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, I realized after seeing Ivan's amazing one where he's like providing the, the stuff that I should have
Yeah,
done
that's
that
a
as
tough,
well. But
tough act to follow. Yeah.
it was very good.
Uh, Eric wants to know, you had mentioned Virus Total is not as great as, some people might have you believe. What kind of alternatives do you like to use?
It's really that on the ground, like looking into it myself. That seems to be, I know that's not like as useful, but actually like pulling it up and seeing where it's going. But I also have a spidey sense. I've been looking at these for multiple years. And so
Mhm.
there is an element that's hard to train where just you've seen so many of them. It's just like, that's one. That's one. Like I can look at the headers in the background and see right away, hey, there's something weird about this. It's coming from an odd place. It's external. I actually also, which I didn't mention, is I also reach out to folks when I find a business email compromise. I actually will make a point, like to reach out and just say, hey, your email is compromised, if I can find them. Mostly US folks in the US. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great point too. For those who are in chat right now who may not know that, sometimes it's not just like, fake Devin McCarthy 1732 at Gmail. It'll actually be like Jerry at simplycyber.io because someone cracked my account, and it helps it get through those phishing filters and stuff like that. One couple more questions because we got just a few more minutes. And by the way, I'd like to just offer. No one asked me, but as far as alternatives to VirusTotal go,
Yeah.
me personally, I really enjoy any.run. I'll grab for an executable or binary, throw it in there, and then for a URL, I like URLscan.io personally. I don't know if you've used that one yourself. It's not really it's not like VirusTotal where it gives you a scan engine and tells you how bad it is, but it does allow you to go look at a website in very much a prophylactic type way.
Totally. Yeah, I've used that. I also use one that I have used not necessarily with email phishing, but with other like threat detection is Scamalytics. I really like that one. You
Okay.
put an IP address and it'll actually give you a rating. It's not always perfect, but it'll give a rating of how it thinks, how much like potential threat there is in that coming from that IP address or that range.
I love it. All right, next question. Valentino, who said some really nice things in chat, by the way, about the conference. Is it possible to encrypt email header metadata?
Oh, that might be out of my that might be out of my expertise, to be
Let's
honest.
see. He said
Yeah,
he's heard that it is one part of the email that cannot be encrypted in order for email to properly reach its destination.
that makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, it does make sense. That's like having TLS encryption on web traffic. Like you can't encrypt the IP source and destination because it needs the the network packet needs to be able to know where it's going, right?
Totally.
So crazy. All right. Let's look at the time. Oh yeah, looks like we're right at time. I want to thank Devin. Devin, if you have time, and people want to continue the conversation, if you could head over to the Track One Open Chat in Discord. It looks like there's some people in there right now: Nick Barker, Justin Gold, Sean. Maybe have some if anyone has some questions. Otherwise, Devin, genuinely appreciate that fun. I thought you were doing a live demo, by the way, and I was like, oh my god, this is bananas! Like, way to go, Devin.
Not quite, but almost.
I love it. All right. Well, thanks so much, Devin. And we're going to head on to our next speaker.